If you're around the coaching space, you know 90% of coaches are stuck giving in-person lessons, leading to burnout, missing out on family time, all while being capped at just $5,000 per month. But there are 10% that do the exact opposite. These coaches have broken through the traditional methods and paved a new path, reaching $10, $20, $30, or even $100,000 per month with their coaching business. After helping 200 plus coaches myself break through that barrier, I have learned the systems needed almost down to an exact formula for sports coaches to grow in 2025. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the exact blueprint of how you can copy the top 10% and free yourself from the coaching world. So the first step to break free of the in-person grind is to develop a client acquisition system. The client acquisition system that I've seen hundreds of coaches copy and paste and generate tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars per month is a simple 3-step funnel. At the top of the funnel, we are going to drive traffic. And all traffic means, I know you're a coach, is just getting people to a specific place. We teach through Instagram and YouTube. Now, once we have that traffic, it is all about number 2, building trust, okay? If you're going to drive traffic and bring somebody to your Instagram page and they've never heard of you before, all you need to do is build that trust through your social media content. And then once we've built that trust, number 3, we have to convert them into a paying customer. Now, what most of our clients do is they use the Instagram DMs in order to book calls with potential clients and then talk to them about how they can work with them one-on-one inside their hybrid or online coaching program. The second step is to develop a program delivery system. Now, let me break down what that means tactically for you. So when you hear program delivery system, all I mean is actually having a training app that you can organize all of your information on and deliver to your athletes in a simple, easy, repeatable way. Now, my preferred training app is Connected Performance, as they have trained thousands of athletes online and developed their own proprietary software to train specifically for sports training. And the benefit of having an app that is designed specifically for sports training is the fact that it's not going to have all this other stuff where if you go to Trainerize or any other online fitness app that you could find out there, it's not going to have any of the extra fluff for fitness. It's only going to have what's most important for sports coaches in order to train athletes online, such as having an exercise library, program templates, you can give video feedback back and forth with your athletes, and you can even communicate with them directly through that training software, a place where you can hold all of your training information and communicate with your athletes without having to go outside of that one centralized hub. Now, that leads directly into step number 3, having a client communication system. So if you have a really good sports training application or platform of some sort, like Connected Performance, then you should be able to communicate with your athletes directly through that app, provide them with video analysis, talk about their game. The possibilities with online training are endless comparative to in-person training. Now, if you don't want to use Connect, if you don't want to use Trainerize, if you don't want to use something that is specifically designed for sports training, which I highly recommend you should, then you can use different things like Slack. You can use even iMessage if you really need to, although if you end up getting good at online training, you'll end up like me, where you have 175 17-year-old kids asking you to look at their training stuff, and then your mom is gonna text you, and then your sister's gonna text you, and you're not gonna get back to anybody. So with that being said, can you use iMessage? Absolutely, but for your own mental sanity and organization, I would highly recommend having an app dedicated strictly to communicating with your athletes. Your mental health in 6 months will thank you for it. Step number 4 is to develop a content creation system. Now, we talked a little bit about client acquisition earlier on in this video, and while content creation and client acquisition kind of go hand in hand, let me tell you why they're a little bit different and why you should think about them in a different frame. So with content creation, what we are trying to do is develop a system that allows us to crank out as much content over and over and over again as possible, because the biggest thing that's going to make a difference on your social media profiles is consistency. And we cannot be consistent at something that we do not have a repeatable process in place to actually execute on it. okay? Think about if you were trying to get really good at a skill in sports and you didn't have a process that you were trying to repeat, how dog shit would you be at that process? The answer is probably really bad because you don't have a step-by-step outcome that you are trying to follow. Okay, so with the content creation, if you have a successful sports training program, then you can outsource it with editors that will edit all of your short form videos for somewhere between even $10 to $15 per video, right? And if you're training a bunch of athletes online, you can certainly afford that. Or if you aren't in that place yet, then you can use apps like CapCut. You can even use Instagram's in-app feature. And what you want to do is pump out as much content as you possibly can, and then figure out from that content what works and repeat that. Because I could sit here and yap all day long about theory, but nothing fucking matters until you hit post and see what the people actually want. That brings us to the favorite part of every single sports coach, which is the business operations system. Look, if you're anything like the over 200 coaches that I've worked with, or anything like myself, look, dude, I was a sports guy. I don't give a flying fuck about any software, tech, automation, anything like that. But in reality, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you actually want to take control over your own life, this is a necessary skill that you need to learn, okay? Because you cannot delegate the business operations or systems when you are just starting out. Nobody is going to want to do it. So it is up to you to learn how to organize your business. And the way that you can do that, I recommend for starting out, is using Google Sheets and having one sheet to organize each component of your business. For example, you have one sheet that organizes all of your in-person athletes, then one sheet that organizes all of your remote athletes, one sheet that organizes all of your payments, one sheet that organizes the program. And as you can see, it can get a little bit scattered with multiple different spreadsheets. So once you're at a place where, let's say you have 20 to 30 athletes in an online setting, you can move to something like Go High Level or even HubSpot or a bunch of different CRMs out there that you can use to actually organize what's going on between your brain. Because eventually, if you actually want to be an internet entrepreneur, you have to learn these systems. After implementing these systems into your business, there is zero reason why you can't have the time and financial freedom that you dream of having. And this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. Let me be very clear that it does take time and effort. But if you stick with it, you can end up like guys like Trey, who made $5,000 in a single week while playing professional baseball, or even Carl, who added an extra $75,000 in revenue to his business in just 90 days, or Joe, who went from 2,000 followers on Instagram to now 75,000 followers on Instagram and just hit back-to-back $10,000 months using just Instagram. Now, if you want the in-depth blueprint that guys like Carl, Trey, and Joe use to achieve these numbers, I have a program called Remote Training University where I have helped over 200 coaches do just that. If that sounds interesting, you can click the link in the description to learn more, but regardless, I appreciate you watching and I'll catch you in the next one.